What up, y'all? Flash feedback for another video. All right, I'm just still following this Philadelphia Eagles news. So, right now, nothing is confirmed. I mean, we got this Adam Schefter report out here where he believes it looks like Nick Sirianni is going to come back. I'm not certain about that because if we remember what happened with Doug Peterson, we really didn't know until we knew. What I think is happening right now is Jeffrey Lurie, Nick Sirianni had their meeting. Jeffrey Lurie then asked him, okay, who are your suggestions to replace the defensive coordinator and the offensive coordinator? All right, so right now, the name that's been out there, this stuff is like just out in the air, is Bob Cooter, okay? Jim Bob Cooter, they say it could be in play. And this is per Mike Garafolo. All these guys, I'm telling you, they don't really know. I looked this guy up. This guy was a consultant with the Eagles from 2021. He's had a relationship with Shane Steichen because he was a guy that has been with the Colts organization. And right now, from what I understand, he's the offensive coordinator for the Colts. Now, let me tell you why hiring him just would be stupid. Jim Cooter is like technically the offensive coordinator for the Indianapolis Colts, right? Shane Steichen is the head coach, but Shane Steichen calls the plays. So he's one of those guys that is there during the early part of the week, helping put together the game plan. He doesn't call the plays, right? The Philadelphia Eagles need a game day play caller, right? So now I'm supposed to believe that Jeffrey Lurie is going to accept a guy who doesn't call plays to be your game day play caller. A guy who hasn't shown anything that he's, would even be better than Brian Johnson. Like, what makes you think he would be? The only thing we know is that he consulted with the Eagles in 2021. And then the Colts, like, what is this obsession? First of all, or I'm not, even if we're not going to call it an obsession, what is this fascination with the Indianapolis Colts and the Indianapolis Colts program and their coaches over there? Like, what's the deal? I get it. The Eagles and the Colts have relations. We traded Carson Wentz there. Frank Reich went from here to there. There was this big overhyping of Frank Reich that happened in this area as well. Frank Reich, of course, was with our staff during the 2017 years when the Philadelphia Eagles won, okay? But since then, Frank Reich was hired by the Colts. He goes there, and, all he does is he bring Carson Wentz over through a trade that we made with them, I guess through the relations that we have with that team. And he's fired after, 3 years, 4 years, or something like that. We have Nick Sirianni go there, win that game that was not an impressive win. It was a hard-ass game there in Indianapolis. And then he does what? I did this for Frank Reich, and he's standing there crying at the press conference. And, then Frank Reich goes to Carolina and gets fired after one season. They get a brand new quarterback out there. He's not able to help that quarterback. All right, so why are the Philadelphia Eagles, number one, impressed with Frank Reich? Number two, why are they impressed with anything that's going on with the Colts? Right? You have all of these successful franchises out here that you could pluck teams, guys from. Why the Colts staff? Right? First you end up with Nick Sirianni. Okay, that's somewhat worked out. Once you gave this guy a loaded team, voila, he's able to get to the Super Bowl and lose. We saw this guy go up against, face some adversity for the first time, right? I think it's kind of clear now that he is a coach that I'm not quite sure what his strengths are. I'm really not sure. As I've said multiple times, he comes here 21, 22. He starts off as the head coach / offensive play caller, game day play caller. Team goes 2-5 because he doesn't know how to run the ball. He doesn't know how to mix running with the pass. Okay? He's probably running an offense that he doesn't know. This doesn't work out. Eventually, we switch it over to Shane Steichen. Shane Steichen is able to basically put together something that makes the team halfway decent. We're able to make it to the playoffs. We get into the playoffs, and they forget how to run the ball, and we get destroyed by the Buccaneers. The next season, you get them A.J. Brown. You get them this loaded roster, and then the Eagles are able to make it to the Super Bowl and lose. Okay? With Shane Steichen calling the plays. Nick Sirianni not calling the plays all year. What actually he does, I guess he helps with the game planning all week. I guess he helps keep the guys in line. I thought he was a great culture builder. I thought he was a great motivator, okay, last year when we tried to figure out what he actually did. This year showed you that he's not really that good at those things, okay? When we changed the coordinator from Steichen to Brian Johnson, okay, and then Brian Johnson, I don't know what the problem was. I don't know if he's just that bad or if he's mediocre. I don't know if it's a combination of him and Nick Sirianni putting together bad plans for the week, not being prepared for teams. Whatever the case may be, this end of this year was a disaster. And even throughout the whole year, it was more of a struggle than it needed to be against teams like the Patriots, against teams like the Jets that we lost, against teams like the Rams. Like, I could go on, and it was more of a struggle than it needed to be with the roster that we have, considering our pedigree from the previous season. Okay? I'm trying to figure out what is Nick Sirianni good at right now, and I don't see anything. I don't understand the logic of keeping him and then get a coordinator that you think is going to change the whole fortune of the team. What happens if that coordinator doesn't work out? You're going to fall back on Nick Sirianni, and then you're going to get a Bob Cooter. A Jim Bob Cooter. That's who he's suggesting to be the offensive coordinator. What is Jim Bob Cooter going to bring to the team? What is going to be the difference in the offense? What is going to be different in his play calling? Is he just like Shane Steichen? At best, is he different from Shane Steichen? What is he going to do? Like, how does he sell this guy to Jeffrey Lurie? I think Jeffrey Lurie right now is thinking about it. Also, the Philadelphia Eagles, you got to understand how this team moves. Somebody is leaking this information out. And since it's Garofalo, I'm of the opinion that it's more than likely that this information was leaked to Garofalo from the Eagles, not from. It's only two people. It's only the agent of Jim Cooter that would leak it, or it would be the Eagles that would leak it to Garofalo. I'm of the opinion it's more than likely that someone from the Eagles leaked it to Garofalo on purpose. This is for the sole purpose of setting Nick Sirianni up for failure, because once it's leaked, they see fans like me and others see it, and they'll understand Jeffrey Lurie's decision to move on, because obviously we're going to think it's dumb. This is a stupid thing. They know nobody in Philly wants to hear it, so this is what they're looking for. So when Jeffrey Lurie shows that this doesn't make any sense, why are you sticking with going into the Colts think tank? Colts are just not a good. Who are they? They're nothing. This is not a team that you need to be grabbing, talent from. The Colts are worse than you. The Colts' offense wasn't even better than yours. Why would you go to the Colts, right? Why don't you go grab somebody from the Dolphins? Grab somebody from, I don't know, maybe the 49ers. Grab somebody from, I don't know, maybe even Detroit. Well, Cooter supposedly was with Detroit, but that was like years ago. I don't know how much of an effect he had on the way Detroit looks now, right? But you need to go find an offense that's better than yours and try to emulate that offense. Since this is a copycat league, unless you're going to go just into the college ranks and completely change everything up, right? So I'm not convinced at all that they're keeping Nick Sirianni and just going with this Cooter guy under him, right? That doesn't make any sense, because if he doesn't work out, then what? You fall back on Nick Sirianni. And then what about defense? What was the name I heard on defense? Some name I heard, man. Jim Caldwell is another name. I don't know what the hell these dudes are doing, man. I don't understand it. Go get some people who know what they're doing, Jeff. Like, you wasting your time, you wasting our time. Go get a guy who knows what he's doing. I don't understand. I guess what it is maybe they're afraid to completely change drastically because I don't know, maybe they fear it's too much for Jalen Hurts to take on next year and the receivers to take on. So maybe they want someone who's familiar with what we're doing and you add a few wrinkles. I honestly, I'm not with that. I think this whole concept and everything that we're going with needs to change. Um, Look at what Baltimore is doing. Baltimore completely changed everything. Got a different coordinator, changed their offense, and you see what it does. If you have a good enough quarterback and you have good enough players, I think you can run. You could just run some different things now, and maybe there'll be a bit of an adjustment period going on at the beginning of the season. But what you want to see is progression. This was the opposite. This was like a struggle, 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 but wins, and then they fell off a cliff. I don't see if you stay with the same uh, coach and you stay with the same system and philosophy. I don't see how this changes, man. I really don't. I was hearing something about Greg Williams possibly as the defensive coordinator. Listen, I take Greg Williams over who we have, but I don't. I just don't believe that that's what they're going to do. I don't believe the Eagles are going to hire Greg Williams. We'll see. Uh, bro, I don't know. If that's all they bring to us, I think that's going to be a problem. So that's why the Eagles, Jeffrey Lurie may have leaked it, and then he might fire Nick on Monday. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if that happened at all. And I really wouldn't, man. I think he's going to sit down. I think he's going to consider everything. I don't believe that this is an indication that that this is the direction they're going to go at all. You know, um, we'll see, man. We'll see. Peace.